much. We go now to the shadows, and on behalf of EPP, Mrs. Carvalho, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, the rapporteur, Mrs. Casares. I will divide my presentation into parts. First, some of elements that I appreciate and I like in the report. And the second, what I like less or I dislike. So first, I'm quite in line with, for example, what Mr. Casares has put to strengthen the cooperation of member states to accelerate the procedures in order to have at least a minimum of 15% electricity interconnection target. We have this target since some years and is still very, very far away, and it's very important to have a strong internal energy market. However, in this point, I go a bit further in my amendments that I intend to place today, including a framework for investment on grids. It's very important to find a strong framework for investment in grids, both in transmission and distribution. And we have including anticipatory investments, network tariffs to provide the right incentives to system operators to invest in grids developments. Also the part of digitalization, and it's important. And I stress also the fact that we need to look at specific situations like islands and the outmost regions that have specific problems on grids. Second, I share many of the proposals of the rapporteurs on the consumer protection, on the empower of consumers. However, in the amendments I go a bit further in order, for example, to enhance the opportunities to share energy, and I include measures that facilitate the energy sharing for all those facilities with a suitable rooftop by increasing the threshold to 10 megawatts, so to include more participants than the proposal of the rapporteur. Finally, I would like to stress a point that I completely disagree on the approach of the cap on revenues that Mr. Casares is proposing, and I'm against to include it in this regulation, as it is already proved to be detrimental to the internal market, and it increases uncertainty for the investors, and so it should not be a structural measure, neither in times of crisis. So we also have reduced the criteria for declaring a crisis, so to avoid that we live in a permanent crisis. So this is the part that we probably have more debate during the shadows meeting, and I look forward to positive cooperation with the rapporteur and my colleagues, the shadows. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Carvalho.